It's no secret to anyone that I'm a Ford guy at heart. Although I've owned several other brands and tried many different types of cars, I always find myself lusting for one Ford or another. And with that, here's my list of the top 5 European Fords ever made. Number 5, the Ford Capri. The Ford Capri was introduced in 1969 and production ran through to December 1986. In the 18-year span of production from December 1968 to December 1986, there had been 1,886,647 Capris made over 3 generations. And the last one to roll off the assembly line at the factory in Cologne, Germany on the 19th of December 1986 was a 1986 Brooklands that today is owned by Ford's Heritage Workshop in Essex in the UK. Number 4 is the Ford Escort. The Escort started its production in 1967 and lasted through 6 generations, all the way up until 2004, when it was replaced by the Ford Focus. The first generation Escort was made to be a replacement for the old Ford Anglia that was meant to be a simple family car. But Ford quickly realized the Escort's true potential and entered it into the world of rallying. This is where the Escort dominated almost every single event it entered. As the 1970 running of the London to Mexico Rally was concluded, a Cosworth-powered Escort was in first place, and Ford celebrated this by making a street version of the car. The Ford Escort Mexico, as it was called, is the granddaddy of today's fast Fords such as the Focus RS. At number 3 is the Ford Consul in Granada. The Ford Consul was the nameplate Ford used in the 50s and early 60s, but with the introduction of the Ford Granada in 1972, the name was revived as the sister car of the Granada. The Consul and Granada were huge hits with the European public. The Consul name was faded out with the introduction of the second generation in 1978, but the Granada name stayed until 1985 or 1994, depending on where you're from. The reason for this is that the Granada was replaced by the Scorpio in mainland Europe, but in the UK, the Scorpio was sold as the third generation Granada. The Granada had fully independent suspension and engine options ranging from a 1.7-liter V4 until a 3-liter V6, or if you were in South Africa, you could get the first generation with Ford's 302 V8. Number 2, the Ford RS Cosworths. With the Escort and Capri earlier paving the way for fast Fords, Ford introduced a straight-up badass version of their new Sierra in 1986 with the Sierra RS Cosworth. It featured a 204 horsepower Cosworth-tuned 2-liter turbo engine known as the Cosworth YB. And in 1987, because of the homologation rules, Ford produced 500 RS 500 Cosworths for road use. In 1992, the Sierra Sapphire Cosworth was introduced with 4-wheel drive and 16 horsepower were added to the Cosworth YB engine. With a 4x4 chassis developed, Ford basically rebodied the Sierra with a 5th generation Escort body panels and introduced the brilliant Ford Escort RS Cosworth as an effort to win the World Rally Championship. Number 1, the Ford GT40. Yes, I know, the GT40 is also an American Ford, but the chassis was developed in Europe and the drivetrain is the only American bit, making it a bit of a hybrid, but it is a magnificent hybrid at that. Any car guy should know the story behind the GT40, with Ford wanting to buy Ferrari and the angry Henry Ford II's revenge on Enzo Ferrari when he decided not to sell the company to Ford at the last minute. With the GT40 entered in the Le Mans 24 Hours in 1966, Ford's multi-million-dollar 3-year endeavor to beat Ferrari finally paid off. With the Ford GT40s winning not only 1966 Le Mans, but repeating the feat in 1967, 68, and 69. The ultimate Ford to come out of Europe in my mind, therefore, is the Ford GT40. If you think I've missed some, or don't think one of my picks should be on the list, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, press that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.